Namaste. Welcome back, beautiful souls. This journey through the Tarot de Marseille is proving to be immensely interesting. And today I have pulled out yet another book that I had totally forgotten I have in my possession. And I'm going to share with you a couple pages from this book. So, yeah. Today we're going to look at the Emperor card. And for those of you that are new, just dropping in, my name is Sadhana, and I have been reading tarot for some time and spending 2024 revisiting the Tarot de Marseille in various forms. And we've been through the quartz and the minors, and now I'm on a journey through the major arcana. So today is all about the Emperor. And welcome to Arya. And again, thank you so much to Arya and Dee for your amazing contributions to the chat that follow each of our discussions. So if you are new to this series, please be sure to go back and look at the comments. There's been some brilliant links that have been shared. And I would encourage you all to go back and look at that. So this is going to be really fun. I have a few decks I haven't had out for a while on the table, so I'm just going to go through and name the decks, and then we will get into our discussion today. Hi Perry, welcome. All right, so let's start up at the top. This is a Usi deck. It's called the Eros Garden of Love Tarot. And tomorrow, actually, I'm going to be going live. I'm going to do a side-by-side looking at these two rather amusing decks. This one and the New Choice Tarot de Marseille, which is right here. This one here is probably one of my first Tarot de Marseille. This is a Tarot de Maria Celia with artwork by Leonard Jim Narcisco. And then we have, this is the, based on the Conver, or this is the Jodorowsky deck. This is the Dodal, the Flournoise Dodal. This one here is a Bolognese deck called Fine della Torre. And this is another Flournois deck. This is the Noble. This is the Il Menangello Sopraffino. And then here is the Gassman Tarot, which honestly is, I think, I've just been going through all these cards. I really think this is my favorite of all of these decks. It's really something. I've really enjoyed some of the discussions about what the emperor represents historically, and how we're going to interpret this contemporarily as far as in readings and so forth. And I think one of my greatest influences was the years that I lived in Japan, and what I learned about how people respond to living in a country where there is that awareness of emperor and empress still long after the monarchy is not active. And I haven't lived in the UK. I haven't lived in other countries where there is that awareness of a monarchy, whether it's a king and a queen, or whether it was at one time an empire that included many countries, many nations, many peoples, various languages, cultures, festivals, ways of being. I don't know, there's just this reverence. Of course, there are anti-monarchists and all that, but there's also a I don't know how to describe it. Like there really is a buying into the descendants of God mythology. And it's really quite something to listen to people talk about it. And if you've never really sat and thought about it or done any reading about what emperor actually represents, it's really something to just to kind of sit with. And we have to digest that down into how are we going to read this here and now and today. And hi Helen, welcome. What is empire represent in terms of you and your life? And because yes, we can talk about this geopolitically, historically, but we also need to talk about this in terms of you and your readings and what that is. And it's funny because I had an emperor. I just so Saturday mornings I'm teaching a course, and I did a personal reading final demo during the class, and this card came up in my reading. It was the third card of a 3-card reading, and it was in the position of, it was a full moon reading. So right now we're just like the next day after the full moon. And I was really feeling this digestion, integration, like a quietness of my own power. There was a real, it's like the emperor doesn't need to be noisy and authoritarian, and it just felt kind of peaceful, like a settling into a power that perhaps I once had, but now am ready to reclaim. And I don't really feel like explaining what I'm talking about right now, but it was really comforting and really reassuring to get this card. So as we go through the discussion today and talk about the postures and the symbols and the gazes and the masculinity and the femininity, just think about what this represents for you. Okay. Hello, Lydiane. Namaste. Welcome to you. Long time no see. Stilettos Soul Work Tarot says, I feel that means we need to take more authority, but how does that help a divine feminine reach her power? And I think that card I just showed you, do I have, how many of you have the Tarot of Echoes? I don't have it on my table, but I will describe it to you. It's a really interesting depiction, and it's not actually so different than this card. So what Anna Torian did was she drew the face of the emperor within the rock face of the mountain. And if you see the mountain, the land, all that is manifest as the divine feminine, the power of the emperor shone through the divine feminine. And I think this realization that we can't separate the divine feminine from the divine masculine, they are part, and they exist simultaneously. They exist together. And their marriage is one of our own peace and harmony. And so this aspect of this powerful aspect of ourselves lives within the divine feminine. It's not separate from. And I think in my yogic studies, I was going to do a whole year, 1 year. I still haven't done it, of this book, which is called The Descent of Shakti. It's actually the descent of Shiva and Shakti, but the descent of Shakti. We usually talk about the ascending of Kundalini, right? Well, there's this book that has these mantras and practices, and it's quite intense. And I was going to spend a whole year with it, and I still will 1 year. And it's the journey of post Kundalini rising, the union with Shiva, and then the integration of that energy. And now my crown chakra is just lighting up, saying, yeah, sadhana, it's time to do that sadhana. So what am I saying here? I'm saying there's a lot to this. We as women have to be outspoken and not complacent in the different ways that we have been witness to the degradation of our gender and our rights as equals and our freedoms. I think it's a matter of knowing that that voice and that power comes from both within. And Dee says, oddly, I rarely pull the Emperor card. Doing a little research has helped me settle down with this energy. Cool. Okay. All right. So let's look at some of the details of the card, and then we can sort of carry on with this discussion. And where should we begin? All right, so there's just too many cards to look at. So let's go here. Okay, and then I can zoom in and we can look at more details, and I'll slide the cards on and off on and off the screen. Okay. Okay, so this is Noblet. And yes, there is discussion of printer errors and reversals with woodcuts and so forth. And yet, some tarologists would make a case for that, while others would disagree. The idea of facings, and okay, so one thing I want to say is this: we pull out a deck, shuffle the cards, and do a reading. In that moment, for you or whoever you are reading for, you have chosen the perfect deck. And it's going to read exactly the way it needs to read. And so when I'm reading with a tarot deck, I'm going to read the facings as they present in that tarot. And more important than past, present, and future is who's paying attention to whom, who's looking at whom, what are they looking at. If there is a side glance, there is half of the body, half of the face that is not revealed. And indeed, that does say something that feels so much different than a card that is facing directly forward. And so as a reader, I read the deck that I'm working with. I don't have other, of course I have other decks in mind, but I'm not reading the decks that are in my mind. I'm reading the picture that is in front of me, because that's exactly what needs to be shared at the time. And so what happened? What happened? Why did the common facing of the Emperor shift from facing to the right to the left? And what does that say? What does that say about the deck? right? Do you, yeah, you agree with what I'm saying here? Hmm. So in the case of this particular deck, then if the Emperor and the Empress appear in a reading, and the Empress comes first. Sorry, I should have pulled out all the Empress cards, but I didn't. Then his back would be to the Empress. And if we're reading from left to right, and this is a whole other thing that you need to explore. I just picked up a book on the esoteric mysteries of the Tarot de Marseille that has been denied by many tarologists, and find it so reinforcing because, I mean, how can it not be there? Okay, so I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't find the card. Anyway, in this decks, right? In the Noble Tarot, the Empress is forward facing. Pretty much completely forward facing. And if she were here, then his back would be to her. If we are reading from left to right, but if we're reading from right to left, then he is paying attention to her. He's looking at her. So I think we need to play with this and explore this, because there are tarologists that say it's not, they're not in agreement of whether the tarot is read right to left or left to right. And again, I think on any given day, you need to decide which way you're going to read and which way your deck is reading. And that makes a difference too if you are bringing in forward facing or reverse facing. And I tend to be more of a person that sees time as cyclical, spiral, rather than being concerned about past, present, and future. And it really appeals to me that the Emperor would be engaged with the Empress. If his back was to her, could that also say that she is, like, behind every great leader, behind every great man is a great woman, that kind of expression? He's her rock upon which he shines out. And isn't that interesting what I said in describing the Tarot of Echoes, where he shines through the rock? Wow. So yeah, so let's be flexible in interpreting the facings, the directions. Yeah. Now, something that becomes more important in the Tarot de Marseille is this crossed leg thing and the space that occurs. So I know Jodorowsky, Kamon Jodorowsky talk about this square that's here. And in the Dodal, we do have, this is a whole other discussion, but what I want to talk about is this space and this square that's here, because we don't see it in the Soprafino, the Dodal. It's not there. It's certainly not in the Noble, nor do we see it in this older deck. So sometimes I feel like the tiny little details, and we did talk about this last time, I think, Dee. There's so much to read in a card. I don't think the little space between the cross legs is that significant. Of course, this is a number 4. The number 4 is about it's about all things square. Solidity, safety, foundation. Prisons as well too. right? The number 4 is it's a potent energy. It really is. And when it is assigned to greatness, you know, or Jupiter, we have to err on the side of what becomes of too much power. Okay, I want to pay attention to your comments and not just have me nattering on here. Okay, I'm going to go through them one at a time. What this emperor denies, doesn't want to face, or with pretension of be above. Okay. I just thought of something here. So in this deck, we have different colored stockings, leggings, right? In some tarots we don't, and some tarots we do. And I think historically we have two different colored legs. And in this particular deck, the red, oh, this is so interesting. The red leg is left. The blue leg is right. So again, we have this reversal of masculinity and femininity. In the same way, there is discussion of the facings of the eagle. If the eagle faces left, it's feminine. If the eagle faces right, it's masculine. And this is referred to as dark and light, that kind of thing. And, okay, so let's look at the Dodal. The left, so in this case, wow, we have two feminine colors on the legs, blue and green. That is interesting. How much of am I going to make out of that? Again, I don't know. The grimoire also has blue stockings. Okay, I'm going to go back up to Aria's comment. The spread I choose may align cards in all different directions. So I don't necessarily deal with a lot of left and versus right facing, but rather with who's talking to whom in any direction presented. Exactly. Yes, this is the most important thing. And I think one of the saddest things in a reading is, say you're doing a 3x3, a 9-card portrait spread, and everybody's looking out. Nobody's paying attention to each other. That sort of thing just screams. Okay. Sorry, I was about to sneeze. All right. Beautiful. Helen. Okay, you're just having a private discussion there. All right. The idea of the emperor as solar is quite common, right? So sun, masculine, moon, feminine. And we do see a sun on this older card here. And most of the shields, I would say, are yellow with black markings on it. So we do see that kind of solar energy. And this is really interesting. Look at this card. The actual bird is there. Oh, I wanted to bring Tarot of the Holy Light to the table, and I left it behind me. It's behind the screen. If you have that book, go to the Emperor page and just read the few lines about the symbol of the eagle. And just paraphrasing, she was writing about how the eagle is a symbol of air and fire. And its strength and its sight and its I'm sorry, I can't remember what she wrote about. But it was just a reminder of what a strong symbol it is. And when I think about this shamanically, because that's my connection to the eagle is the actually the condor is the symbol of the east. The symbol of the east, where the sun rises. So there is this. So isn't this interesting? So deeply through shamanic energy, and this is old. The eagle, the condor, is connected to the rising sun, the sun. And this is the direction of the teachers. So that means those who have great sight, those who can see in many directions. Symbolically, a lot of these connections are older and more widespread than we could ever know and research. Now, egg. D, thank you for that link about the ostrich egg and the ostrich egg being connected to Catholicism, Greek Orthodox, Catholicism, Greek Orthodox Church, the ostrich egg. So we were talking about the egg in the High Priestess card. And in the Empress card, there was the cup to the left of her seat. Now, in the Conver deck, Jodorowsky includes an egg, sort of hidden underneath the eagle. This powerful masculine symbol upon an egg. Yeah, or cushion. That refers to the cup question, the cup debate. And so this egg symbol is making an appearance again. And this is not the last time we will see the symbol of the egg in the tarot. I think what we were saying earlier is that if you do have the inclusion of eggs in the deck you are working with, let that metaphor unfold your story. I don't think we need to see it if it's not there, but how interesting that it is. Yes, and I was actually looking for it in this book, but I haven't found it yet. And the reading is very slow because this book is in French. So if I find it in here, I will let you know. And I know I can put my phone over it and have it translated into English, but it's actually fun to read it in French. Okay. Can we go to the scepter? I would like to go to the scepter because there's some really interesting evolutions of the scepter. So I want to go to Gassman. Oh, and yes, this funny deck. Oh my God. I can't wait actually to do the side by side tomorrow. I was going to do it today, but one of my daughters is coming for a visit. So, all right. So, he's looking right at the flower in front of his face. I mean, this deck just makes me laugh. And he's got a cock instead of an eagle. At least that's the way it looks to me. So, where's my pointer? Notice the shape in the Soprafino and the shape here in the Fine della Torre. And I particularly like this one in the Gassman. You know, we have this feminine womb shape, and you know, then we have this masculine shape rising out of it, and his command, his scepter, is a union, is a symbol of this union. And there's something about it that I don't know. I haven't read like how this one. I need to get the Gassman Tarot. I think it's based on the Payen, right? And I don't have it, and I need to order a Payen deck. Just a moment. Okay, so the Gassman Tarot, Canton of Geneva. I don't know. I'm going to have to do some more research. So all I'm saying is there's something that really appeals to me about this particular scepter. Now, the scepter that we see more commonly in the tarot is, of course, the symbol of the world, the symbol of the empire that is divided with the continents. And yeah, so it takes a very different kind of energy. Okay, yes, I'm sure you are correct here. It'd be just really interesting to know where it came from. It is really funny, and we can laugh together tomorrow. It's like the magician has done the 4 elements on his table in this scepter. I think this is the page that I marked here. Gosh, I don't know what book it was in. I might have been in David's book. Maybe I have that still on my screen. Anyway, feel free to chime in here, but what I was taken by, what I was the and maybe this goes back to the initial part of this discussion, and that is, you know, what does the emperor represent for you in your particular reading? And the idea of the divided world with the cross over feels so different than a scepter such as this. I think I would notice it in a reading and it would make me feel different. Now, in the card that I had today in my reading, which should be around here somewhere, there is an ankh on the chest of the emperor. I don't know. I think I have misunderstood this card for many years. And I've been very absorbed in Golden Dawn correspondences and astrological correspondences. And I'm just kind of sitting here thinking, how can I incorporate and expand? So when I think of all of the martial energy that is associated with the emperor, I don't have a particular quote for you, but I really feel like Mars wants us to do better, to do more, to test ourselves, to take ourselves to a limit, to know that we can, purification by fire, trial by fire, as long as we don't go too far, can be immensely revealing. And so there's this dichotomy between the emperor who sits back and rules from afar and keeps peace in the lands, to the emperor who is more soldier-like. And I think we each need to kind of sit with that and figure out what significance is more important here. Okay. Yeah, let's go on to this because this is interesting. A half sitting, half standing posture gives a look of smugness. Ooh. Okay. So you know how the Empress was cradling the shield for the most part in the right hand and had the scepter quite close to her body, like it was leaning on her body in her left hand. And this is different because the Emperor has the scepter forward. So there is some discussion of that being active. Also, the scepter is in his right hand. So it makes sense that it's not a reversal, that the Empress is cradling the scepter in her left hand because she leads from or leads in a different way than does the Emperor. And honestly, it looks to me like that is not a stable way to stand. So is he getting up or is he sitting down? To me, it looks like he's about to get up. If we look at this like ergonomically, he's about to get up and stand. Maybe he's even using the weight of the scepter to move from sitting to standing or is he sitting irreverently? That's also possible. Yeah. And this crossed leg thing is really interesting for me, the yogi. He is perfectly at ease in any position. And for all of the weight, the clothing that he is wearing, it feels that he's not weighed down by it. Yeah. Okay. I read, I don't know. Sorry, so many books in my mind. So these little symbols here on the Noble, we also, do you want to talk more about these cross legs? Should we wait until we get to the Hanged Man and the world, and then we can expand then? Is that okay? Because I won't forget to talk about the cross legs, because it's I think it's highly significant. So I'm going to go on to these little markings. And we also see it in the Jodorowsky. And others, I don't know. I'm just looking around the table. Oh my God, I think it's actually in tattoos. Okay, so the suggestion is that this is ermine. So we're looking at a blend of armor and fabric. That this particular figure is not fully armored. And I can see that coming up in a reading. Now I'm having this other thought. Okay, so what other figures wear fur? So I'm going to tell you where my mind was going, because it wanders all kinds of crazy places. I was thinking about the Seven of Swords in the Waite-Smith Tarot that has the fur hat and the fur boots. And I don't know why I went there. Oh, yes, I was talking about the shaman earlier, and how a lot of these symbols are old, and that fur is a something that the shamans wear when they're doing their work. Sorry, I don't know where I was going to go with this. Okay. If you have anything to say, please feel free to say. There is discussion about the hair, the beards, the mustaches. There is discussion also about what is around his neck and this particular symbol. So I know David talks about the absence or presence of the chain around the neck. And we haven't looked at the lower quadrant of the card, or the lower third of the card, which you might want to do. So I'm talking about the where is the emperor? I would say quite. Oh, and this one is so interesting. Look at this one. He's got his feet on a cushion, it looks like to me. It is a war helmet of the Holy Roman Empire. So that connection to war and Mars is there, and it's on his head, and his crown is protected by the helmet. David is obsessed by all things Harry. Yeah, there's a few other writers that are too, in less intense ways, but yeah. Okay, so just for a second, let's talk about hair. So we have a different perceptions on age, immaturity, and maturity in the Tarot de Marseille as far as the kings go. But I'd say for the most part that the emperor symbolically is a little more mature with his beard and so forth. Oh my God, you are so funny. That's a really interesting comment. That makes me laugh, Aria. And in this particular deck, it is that same world symbol that is on the charm on the heavy gold necklace. And the chain looks like those wheat sheaths. It looks like it here, looks like it here, and looks very much like it here. So fertility, right? Fertility, abundance, resources. Let's go back. I said the emperor is outside. So in that one deck, the Sopraffino, he's definitely inside, looks like to me, protected. And I think there's this idea historically that the emperor was protected. The emperor was a descendant of God, and therefore he was cloistered. But in the tarot, it's different. The emperor is more like a warrior. The emperor is outside. The emperor is the eagle, right? The emperor is surveying his empire. And I think maybe we can come full circle here with the two contemporary decks that I was mentioning, the Anatolian Tarot of Echoes and the one that I had in hand, which is Le Tarot au Mort Étrange. And that maybe the emperor is the empire. Or at least he is what I said earlier, you know, like you can't separate the divine feminine from the divine masculine. They are together. I don't know. It's so, I don't know. I think it's just so fascinating. Holding his belt suggests that he is close to his money. And he's holding his belt in all of these. Oh, yes. And there's also talk of bigger hands. Big hand, small hand. He is standing on blue stuff, water-like the Pope has. You know, in some of the decks he has blue pants, all sort of feminine colored pants. Maybe he is more integrated than we give him credit for usually. Okay. Now, this is I think this is a good place to wind up, Dee. So so let's go back. So historically, the emperor was appointed by the Pope at some time, right? At some places. So there was a direct connection with Papal energy. I don't know if I can make anything of that. So, okay, maybe then what was more of a feminine scepter, sorry, not feminine, what was more of a symbolically unified scepter, that is equally portrayed on what we see in the lower section on the land in the card. For the most part, he is on blue. And in this card, he's on green and green. So he is standing upon or held by the divine feminine. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Good discussion today. So I'll see you tomorrow. We'll do a side-by-side of all of, we'll do a side-by-side. I will do a side-by-side of this deck and this very irreverent deck. And if you don't like seeing penises and vaginas, then I suggest you don't tune in because it's really, really fun and it'll be great for a laugh. So that's on the program for tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your day and sacred slumber for those of you that are about to turn in. See you soon. Bye for now.